Well, that was quite a weekend. I'm recording this on Wednesday because it has genuinely taken 2 days to recover from the UK Games Expo, which was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday just gone, and it was a real heavy weekend. It was again record numbers for them. It just gets bigger every year, so they got a record attendance numbers again. I don't know exact figures. If I see them floating about, I'll pop them up here. But yeah, and we were filming while we were there. I didn't film as much as I should have. There were some bits that I missed, but that was partly because the weekend was so much more manic than we were necessarily expecting, and so much more successful than we were necessarily expecting. So I ended up slacking a little bit in the recording front because we didn't have time to do anything. Basically, all we were doing was demoing the game. You'll see some clips spliced in here. We did still shoot quite a lot of footage, so I'm going to use that to cut together to make a more Expo, a more video about the Expo. This is just me. I'm going to talk about it first, but you see little clips here. So we were just demoing. We had a tiny little stand. We were just demoing the game, just trying to get some buzz, get some people talking, and maybe get some people, following the Kickstarter's coming soon page, and all my other social medias and stuff. So just trying to get word of mouth out there. And we started running our first game, I think, before 10 o'clock on the Friday. And we were running relatively solidly Friday. Like we had there were gaps between the games, but we were running most of the day. And then Saturday we were fully booked. We started using a sign-up sheet because Friday was so busy, and by midday on Saturday our sign-up sheet was full. So we ran games constantly on Saturday, not a single moment for breaks. Luckily there was enough of us to kind of rotate around a bit, so one of us wasn't sat there constantly explaining the rules, although we were doing it enough that none of us had voices by the end. But yeah, Saturday we were fully booked to the point where we started taking bookings for Sunday morning, and the first couple of games were already booked on Sunday morning before Sunday even started. And then Sunday again we were fully booked the whole day. Not every game was completely full, but there was somebody playing in every single possible time slot. We were basically running the game every hour, which we were not expecting. We were expecting to be just begging for anybody to come to us. But people were, thanks to these kind of videos and all of our activity online, some people sought us out. Some people came back to play a second time because some people just heard word of mouth floating about that people had played the game and loved it. A couple of people had heard that somebody had told them it was the best game at the Expo, so they had to come and play it. And I'm like, that's insane, that's crazy that even happened. Just word of mouth. So we were absolutely fully rammed the entire weekend. Friday was the quietest day that we had. Even though Friday wasn't quiet this year, Friday was really busy. Sunday was the quietest day of the Expo overall. I've gone out of focus again. I hate this camera. There we go, I'm back in focus. I don't know why this camera constantly goes out of focus and needs adjusting. It's very annoying. I desperately need to buy a new webcam. I did my best to try and get around all the people that I mentioned in the previous video, and I managed to chat to most of them. I missed Gunpowder, Treason and Plot, Black Letter Games. I just couldn't find you. I'm very sorry. I'll try and seek you out another way. But I just sort of wandered the halls a bit with my little map. I'd circled everyone in Sharpie, but I kind of just got caught up in the crowd on Saturday and Sunday, and just couldn't find you in the end. But I managed to find most everybody else. My only regret is that I didn't buy a copy of Oh No, I Started a Cult. I kind of wish I had done, because I found them, got chatting with them for a bit, and looked through the game. And I really liked the look of it, and then I kind of went, okay, I'll come back, and I wandered off to do something else, and then I just kind of got caught up in all the chaos of the rest of that day, and never got back round to that. That was on the Sunday that I did this, I never got back round to them, just kind of slipped my mind. So I wish I'd bought a copy of that. I managed to play Luthier, which I mentioned in the previous video. It's quite a chunky game, so it's a good 3 hours, 4 hours game, particularly the first time if you're learning it. So you can't play a full game there because that's half your day gone. But I managed to play like a crash course, like an hour-long crash course, where somebody talked us through a round of the game, and it had in the rules how to play your first round. Like one of those, it kind of dictates what everyone should be doing to learn the basic mechanics of the game. Root has one as well, like how to play your first round, what everybody should do. I think Scythe has one. There's a few games that have them about. I'm not personally a fan of that design in the rules. I don't think it's very good. I think it's just sort of distracting, and I don't find that I learn well off of the rules sort of telling me what to do. I would rather it gave me a strategic choice, because I'm not learning anything when it says you should take this card because of this, because it doesn't tell me what the other options are. It doesn't tell me why I would do anything else, or it just tells me that this is like an optimal move, and I get a good feel for the various sections of the board and how the mechanics work, but I don't get a feel for the strategy of the game, and I didn't get a feel for how I was supposed to win the game or what I was supposed to be, trying to progress. It also was quite a dry game. I'm being a little critical here, but it was a relatively dry game. So the concept of the game is that you're making instruments for various patrons of the kind of the age of I guess what we call now classical music, and you're trying to make these instruments in order to satisfy the people who have ordered them, so that they can be put into concerts and things like that. And like you can have sponsored. You'll be a musical instrument manufacturer, and so you're making the instruments, putting people into this orchestral selection, but it never like the theme didn't come across as especially strong. It was just moving cubes about so that you could move your cards about, and then placing things on the board. So I didn't get a feel for the theme. This isn't to say that I wouldn't enjoy the game. I'm nothing wrong with a relatively dry Euro game. I have nothing against that whatsoever. Theme doesn't have to be the key thing there, but it didn't like wow me. I would still happily play it. I'd like to play a proper game of it just to get an actual like feel for it, but I'm not jumping onto the Kickstarter, as it were. And we managed to play Betty Two Bricks, which is a fun little light take that kind of gotcha card game, which is very it's quick and snappy and kind of mean, which makes sense for the gangster theme. So that was good, and that was a nice, light and simple kind of game. They were right near us as well, so you'll see them appearing in the videos I recorded quite a lot. They were just around the corner from us, so we got to chatting with them quite a bit. So it was their first expo as well, so they were taking pre-orders. So that was really good. That was a really good setup. They had they had a larger, slightly better organised stall than ours. Like ours was we had a very simple setup. Basically our stall was just big enough for us to put the table with the game on it, people to come and play. But they had a slightly more elaborate setup, which we will look at trying to do something similar next year. I think we just wanted to keep it simple this year. I managed to observe and chat with the people who made Deep Regrets, Tetix Games. I didn't get a chance to play it, unfortunately, but I do like the look of it. I like the design. It's more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a kind of a slightly light push your luck game, but no, it's more complicated and a strategic card game than that, with a lot of layers to it, which I like. I like a complex game. It just I wasn't expecting that game to be that. So yeah, Deep Regrets, I still want to get a good playthrough, but I managed to chat with the guys on that stall, and observe a game sort of halfway through, and talk to them at the preview evening as well. Similarly to Flick Fleet, didn't get a chance to play, but did manage to get a good chat with them, and I do like the concept of you move your ships around and you kind of flicking dice at each other. So the concept is you've got this little armada of plastic spaceships that can fire certain dice, and you flick a dice, and actually oddly enough the smaller the dice the better, because if you flick a d10, you're going to get up, you can get a high number, but it's going to roll in an unpredictable way, whereas a d6 is slightly more predictable, and you're trying to like hit each other's ships, and the number determines where they get hit and all types of damage and things. So yeah, that's got a neat little idea. You're not flicking the ships so much as you are in some other kind of flicking games. You're flicking dice off the ships as kind of missiles. So that's neat. So that's a little bit more intensive and strategic than say other flicking games. It's kind of taking flicking games to the next level. So that looked really good. Again, unfortunately didn't get a chance to play, but I think that would be quite a fun one. Managed to observe the Strange Forgeries. Was it Strange Forgeries of SC Reba? That. I still don't really understand that game. I've watched their videos on it, and I watched a game being played, and I had the designer there explain it to me. But it's such a kind of a quirky concept. I like the idea. It's a quirky little concept of everyone's kind of making doodles under certain criteria, and the person running the auction, or whoever is in sort of charge, chooses what constitutes a forgery. and if somebody doodles that thing on one of their cards, then that turns out their painting is a forgery, and then they like bid everything, and you're trying not to get forged, trying to work out what the forgery criteria are and not accidentally buy forgeries. It's yes, I really like the idea. I still didn't fully grasp. It might have just been because I was sort of brain fried, because I think I got to them on the Sunday as well. By the time like the weekend was wrapping up, and I was quite been running my game a lot, and it was quite a heavy weekend. If I go out of focus again, I'm going to smash this camera up. I tried entering the £1,000 giveaway. They do a thing at the UKMZ every day. If you take a selfie with this sign that says £1,000 giveaway, post it on Instagram with certain hashtags and stuff, and then you can get a raffle ticket on their website through your account, and then they draw one, and someone will take you around the hall with the Expo credit card, and you can buy £1,000 worth of stuff. Didn't manage to win that, unfortunately, but it's always worth an entry. We were sat next to Dice Goblin, so we got kind of chatting to them quite a lot, and they were demoing their upcoming RPG Gobos, which looks quite fun. It's quite an interesting dice mechanic of you spending dice across your board to do things. That was I won't butcher the rules explanation here, but yeah, look up Gobos. It looks like they had a really interesting design, and they were in early days demoing that. So they had people playing the game every now and then. They had a little one shot being run at their table, and I did quite like the look of it. It looked like it's got an interesting setup. So yeah, I'll put a link for them below. And then the other side of us, I think I mentioned, was Darrington Press, Critical Role's publishing house. They were there next to us for the first time at the Expo. They said they did Gen Con, I think they said they did before, and now they've just come to this Expo for the first time. And then they were flying back to LA like yesterday. So yeah, they were sort of excited to see how things are. And it's a relatively new venture for Critical Role. I guess they haven't been like publishing stuff for that long. Only the last couple of years, their own games and things. So Candela Obscura was being sold, and For the Queen, their card game. So they were there, and they were having they were pretty rammed as well. Basically, people came straight there. There were people at that stall quicker than I thought it was possible to get from the doors to the back of Hall 2 where we were. So people just came into the halls, just went straight to Darrington Press, because obviously that was kind of on their radar that they wanted to do that. So we managed to pilfer some people from their crowd every now and then, or hand out flyers to the people kind of queuing outside Darrington Press, which was convenient. I didn't manage to get around the Vikings. Again, I had like no time away from our stall because we were pretty rammed. I went out and I did some shopping, and I talked to people as much as I could. I'd love to have been able to do it more. I really wanted to play Survivor Live, but I couldn't get there. I could just kind of observe as I walked past, because they weren't very far from us. But it's been a great boost. The Kickstarter has 70 odd followers last time I checked, and it's just constantly going up, pretty much entirely from the weekend. So that's been really great, really amazing. We're really happy with that. Hopefully we hit 100 soon. That was kind of our first soft goal, and then we're going to push up over the coming months to get up to 500 would be great, and then we can kind of think about what we're going to do next. But I wanted to make a video to check in, because I know it's going to take me a while to go through all of the footage that we recorded at the time and kind of splice it into some kind of vaguely coherent mess. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I've got some games coming up. If you want to check out my links below and start playing, they've still got tables available. I've also got a game coming up on Roll Dark, a Monster of the Week game that is being advertised now. Again, I'll put that link below, so you can join that. I'm working out our Patreon. We're going to start a Patreon soon, so I'm working out the details of that so that it can coincide with some of the releases of our other shows, and so it can fund specific things. In particular, the mega game. I want to run the mega game twice more at least. We're looking at towards the end of August now, so hopefully there'll be one in August, one in September. Of the Arkham Horror inspired one, but with different scenarios and different kind of setups. So yeah, hopefully we're going to run that twice, and there'll be a Patreon layer for to join those games, as well as just general ticketing for those. So hopefully we're going to work all of that out in the next few weeks. In 2 weekends time, so the weekend of the 15th, 16th, I am hoping to do like an all-nighter live stream, which will be a kind of 24-hour stream of me just talking about stuff, editing, playing games, just kind of doing things on the stream, maybe getting some people into chat and such forth. Just kind of pull an all-nighter and just go live for a length of time, just to see if I can make something of that. I think they've got some ideas of like a structure for that, so I think that will could be quite fun, as well as me doing more online stuff. Like I've got a Twitch channel up, I've just never really used it, so I'm gonna start doing more Twitch based things. We'll be at HandyCon in August and TwinCon at the end of August. If there's any other events between now and then that we can sort of find out and go to, then we'll work that as well. We're also hoping to hit some board game cafes around that we can just bring the game to and just run it and be like, hey, check this out. Just like open gaming nights and things like that. We've got a few clubs around that, again, that are some that I already attend anyway, so we will take the game there. If there's any events or anything that you would like to see the game at, the Trouble on the Tempest, then please do let me know in the comments. I'm happy to try and squeeze in any like little cons or little club nights or whatever to try and get into our schedule, because we're really pushing this hard at the moment. I'm hoping that the coincide with the all-nighter will be also the launch of the first episode of the Fate series that we recorded last year, which is hopefully I'm now in a position to fully render it. Again, I will talk about why that's been so delayed at some point in detail, but yeah, it's sort of in a position where I can actually think about putting it all together properly. There's some other projects we're working on, but you don't need to worry about those. We're already planning for the UK Games Expo next year, so we're definitely going to the UK Games Expo next year as part of our kind of next year's tour. Whether we'll have the game in a position to sell it or not, or whether we'll still be pushing the Kickstarter or pushing something else, we don't know, but we will definitely be there. That's our plan now. We've really had a great time this weekend. Thank you to everyone who may have come by. If you're watching this and you came by and you played the game, thank you so much. If you came by but you didn't get a chance to play the game, very sorry about that, but we're working on hitting other events, maybe even making like a digital copy of the game that can be played in a kind of tabletop simulator kind of way. But if you did come by, thank you so much again for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Please do follow the Kickstarter if you're into that sort of thing. All the links for my social medias and that Kickstarter and all the other things I've mentioned will be listed below. If you're finding me for the first time from the UK Games Expo, I mostly rant about TTRPGs because this was intended to be an actual play channel, but things sort of progressed in an unusual way sometimes. So the actual play stuff is still coming out, but yeah, that was the original intention of the channel, so mostly I ramble about RPGs and my kind of philosophy there. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe. It was a really great weekend. It went really well. It's really kind of infused us and encouraged us to keep pushing forward with this project. Yeah, I'm really grateful to everyone who came to show us some love, and just how many people were just kind of really enjoyed the game. I'm really excited about getting it out there into the world. Hopefully soon. Right. Thanks for watching. The end.